Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of The Chord. Now, this month on The Chord, we have for you one of the biggest bands to come out of Germany. They started small, but then they eventually hit it in the big times. Let me tell you, this band is going to be here to stay. A lot of trivia about them is going to come your way, but the band that we have for you this month is called The Scorpions. They are from Germany. Now, two friends came together from school and decided to do this, make a band. Of course, they loved their music, but you can imagine that after the war that happened, the World War, these two guys didn't have too much to look forward to. But then, of course, what came with it were American GIs who gave them the chewing gum, also gave them Elvis, and then, of course, rock and roll music. They took to playing guitar and they knew that all they wanted to do was to become musicians. Thankfully, their parents were so understanding they said, go ahead and do what you want. It was Klaus Main and Rudolf Schenker who came together to start the band called Scorpions. Now, being influenced by bands like the Yardbirds, it was in 1965 that Rudolf Schenker came together with friends of his to decide to start this band called the Scorpions. Klaus Main was not there with him at that point of time and was in another band. But his younger brother, I'm talking about Rudolf, his younger brother Michael was now an established guitarist, much better than Rudolf, and was in this band called Copernicus. Eventually, he would leave Copernicus, tell Main to come and join him. Klaus Main, Rudolf, and Michael would come together to form the band, the Scorpions. And then, of course, this great camaraderie and this bond between Rudolf and Klaus Main, who did the songwriting together, had now laid the foundation for this band called the Scorpions. Now, there's a big debate that went on for a long time saying that Scorpions frontman and vocalist Klaus Main did not know English, and so all the writing came from Rudolf. That is not true at all. Klaus Main, in fact, writes all his songs in English, and he knows English really, really well. Now, the thing is, his vocal cords are so brilliant, his pipes are fantastic that he can take things to a different level. And if you hear him anywhere and you keep your eyes closed, you know it's Klaus Main and nobody else. He's got this fantastic voice, very distinctive. But what makes Scorpions brilliant is the fact that you have two electric guitars coming together and they are completely in sync and they are really, really fast, really hard, but also melodic at the same time. And the lyrics, when they come in, are absolutely brilliant. You can go anywhere, put your ear out, and you will know that you're going to listen to some good music coming from the Scorpions. None of their songs are really bad. But Lonesome Crow really hit the charts. And then eventually, it was time for them to start touring the world. Where did they go? Well, to Japan. And then they decided to do one more thing, record another album and make it even bigger than what it already was. They were going to play to sell out crowds in the future. But it was a lot of time that they took to sit down and write their song that really made the difference. Now, Klaus Main and Rudolf would sit down, think about what is it that they want to write. It's going to be a love song, a love ballad, or they just want to just talk about life. They all sat down and decided it's time to sing about the political climate and what can happen when it comes to change. That's why when you listen to songs like Winds of Change, you know that's all about them making a political statement. But also they would go on and sing to great audiences. When they started off touring after they got Lonesome Crow as their first album, they went around Uriah Heep and UFO to do things like backing them up. But soon they would frontline their own shows. And out of all places, they got a huge following from Japan. America was still not ready for the Scorpions, but that was just around the corner. But the British invasion was about to begin. Now, major change would happen in 1973. After touring with this band called UFO, eventually younger brother Michael Schenker would leave this band and join this Brit group. Now, again, they were left with nobody else. They didn't know what to do. They went around looking for guitarists, eventually fell on one guy called Uli Roth, who was a fantastic guitarist with almost mystical talent. They had formed now a collusion that would go on to be, well, one of the biggest acts to come out of Germany. And the Scorpions were just about to make history with their second album after Lonesome Crow. Now, going from one country to another, this group really went and made it big. Of course, they went and toured every country they could and, of course, conquered them as well. Hearts and minds and everything with their music. But eventually, in 1974, they would come back and start making another album. And then they thought, okay, let's make one more LP in 1975 called In Trance. That became platinum, and Scorpions were about to tour again, and this time they went to Japan. And there, they got certified platinum as well. In 1976, they came up with an album called Virgin Killer, and it got certified platinum again in Japan. There's this love story with Japan which I can't really fathom why Japan loves them so much. Well, it's probably that the music just captured their hearts. They went touring in Japan. They didn't know how big they were there. Eventually, they got mobbed by them. But that's the thing of being famous and being rock stars. And if they love you, they love you. What else can you do? Now, I'm talking about the fans, especially here. And Japan, again, gave them the Voted Star Medal, which is one of the biggest honors you can get from that place. called Japan. But eventually the Tokyo tapes would come out in 1979, but unfortunately Ulrich Roth decided to leave the band in 1978, making way for another guitarist called Matthias Jabb. We'll come to the end of this episode of The Chord. Catch me next week, same place, same time, for more on the Scorpions. We again just touched the tip of the iceberg. So catch me next week, same place, same time, only on Rosebowl and only on The Chord.